It was one of the most tightly guarded secret missions inside the US military. This was the moment B-2 bombers left their base in Missouri to fly halfway around the world and strike Iran's nuclear facilities. But now there is a battle for the narrative of this mission. For the first time since the war started with Israel, Iran's supreme leader has broken cover, claiming President Trump had exaggerated the impact of America's bunker busters. The Pentagon has released this footage of a test bombing to prove its effectiveness.
In trying to find wedges and spin stories.
Today pushing back on a leaked intelligence report suggesting the strike may not have been completely successful.
There's low confidence in this particular report. It says in the report there are gaps in the information. It says in the report multiple linchpin assumptions are what this assessment, a linchpin assumption, you know what that is? That means your entire premise is predicated on a linchpin. If you're wrong, everything else is wrong. And yet, still, this report acknowledges it's likely severe damage. Again, this is preliminary, but leaked because someone had an agenda to try to muddy the waters and make it look like this historic strike wasn't successful.
Members of Congress have been briefed on the mission, but it did little to settle the argument about whether Iran could still make a bomb.
I just do not think the president was telling the truth when he said this program was obliterated. There was certainly damage done to the program, but there is there's still significant remaining capability.
Obliterated is a good word for me to use. I can tell people in South Carolina nobody is going to work in these 3 sites anytime soon.
I think we've caused catastrophic damage to Iran's nuclear program. That's not to say they might not try to reconstitute it.
What exactly happened during the strike on this mountain at Fordo is perhaps not as important as what Iran could still do elsewhere. There are reports it may have another undisclosed facility near Natanz, under the so-called Pickaxe Mountain, and the whereabouts of Iran's uranium stockpile is still a mystery.
And Dan joins us from Washington. So many competing narratives. This is the latest battle, I suppose, isn't it, Dan? When will we ever actually get to the truth on this?
Well, I think if you remember the whole saga of weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, it took the fall of Saddam's regime before America could put boots on the ground, and then it discovered there weren't any WMD. And I think as long as the Iranian regime is in place, it's very difficult to know for certain precisely what their capability is. There are some things we do know, that Iran had more than 20,000 of these centrifuges, which are big machines that are used to enrich uranium. They are very sensitive, very difficult to move. And today, the International Atomic Energy Agency said that it thought that those centrifuges at Fordo anyway were no longer operational. And it said that there was no escaping the significant physical damage that occurred to them. So that's the centrifuges. When it comes to the uranium, that's slightly different, because the uranium stockpile that Iran had was mostly in gas form, uranium hexafluoride, which could have been put into big cylinders and moved. And there were satellite pictures of lorries near the Fordo facility a few days before that strike. They had about 400 kilos, enough for almost 10 bombs if it was enriched right up to 90% purity. And now Iran has suspended today all cooperation with the International Atomic Energy Agency. So there is no one really who has got eyes on Iran and its nuclear program to say for certain what is left and how much potential capability they could have in the future. But it seems that they've been knocked back significantly. I think we can say that for certain.